Life is full of uncertainty, challenges, setbacks, and moments when we don't know what's next. But what if I told you that true peace doesn't come from having all the answers? It comes from trusting in the one who does. Welcome to our channel, where we explore faith, personal growth, and the power of trusting in God. In today's video, we're diving deep into what it really means to rely on God's plan, even when life doesn't make sense. How do we trust Him in the waiting seasons? How do we surrender control and find peace in His timing? And how can we strengthen our faith when doubts creep in? If you've ever felt anxious about the future or struggled with letting go, this video is for you. Stick with me until the end, because we're going to uncover powerful truths, real-life stories, and practical steps to build unwavering faith in God. So take a deep breath, open your heart, and let's begin this journey together. But before we start, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an episode. Now, let's dive in. Trusting in God is one of the most profound and transformative experiences a person can have. It is not just a mental belief, but a deep, unwavering reliance on God's wisdom, timing, and provision, even when life feels uncertain. True trust in God requires surrender, patience, and faith beyond what we can see or understand. It is a lifelong journey where we learn to let go of our own control and allow God to guide us through every challenge, joy, and unknown moment. At its core, trusting in God means believing in His goodness and sovereignty. It is understanding that no matter what happens in life, He is always present, working things out for a purpose beyond our comprehension. Many times, trust is tested when we face trials, loss, or unexpected setbacks. It is in these moments that our faith is refined, when we must choose between relying on our own limited understanding or placing our confidence in God's divine plan. The journey of trust often begins with small steps. We may start by trusting God with minor decisions before we learn to lean on Him for the bigger aspects of our lives. As we see Him move in our circumstances, our faith grows. We begin to recognize that His ways are higher than ours and that He orchestrates every detail with precision. This trust is built over time through prayer, reflection, and experiencing His faithfulness firsthand. One of the most challenging aspects of trusting God is letting go of our own need for control. As human beings, we often desire certainty, security, and immediate solutions. We want to know the outcome before we take a step forward. However, faith requires walking without always seeing the path ahead. Trusting God means embracing the unknown with confidence that He will provide exactly what is needed, exactly when it is needed. This trust is not passive. It requires active faith. It means seeking God daily, spending time in His presence, and aligning our hearts with His will. It involves surrendering our worries, fears, and anxieties, replacing them with the peace that comes from knowing He is in control. It means believing that even in silence, even in waiting, even in confusion, He is still at work. Life's difficulties often make trusting in God challenging. When prayers seem unanswered, when pain lingers longer than expected, when circumstances don't change as quickly as we hope, doubt can creep in. But faith is not about having all the answers. It is about choosing to trust even when we don't understand. It is about believing that God's plan is far greater than anything we could ever imagine. The Bible is filled with stories of individuals who had to trust in God despite uncertainty. Abraham was called to leave his homeland without knowing where he was going. Moses had to lead the Israelites through the Red Sea without seeing the way forward. Joseph endured betrayal, imprisonment, and years of hardship before God's plan for his life was revealed. Each of these individuals had moments where they could have doubted, yet they chose to trust, and God's faithfulness was evident in the end. One of the greatest assurances we have in trusting God is His promise to never leave us. Even when we feel alone, He is near. Even when we don't feel His presence, He is working behind the scenes. Trusting in God means believing that He hears every prayer, sees every tear, and understands every struggle. His love for us is unshakable, and His plans are always for our ultimate good. As we continue on this journey of trust, we learn that God's timing is perfect. Though we may desire immediate answers, He knows what is best and when it is best. Delays are not denials. Every waiting season has a purpose, shaping our character, strengthening our faith, and preparing us for the blessings ahead. Trusting in God also brings peace. When we truly rest in Him, we no longer carry the burden of trying to control everything. We release our anxieties and place them in His hands, knowing that He will take care of every detail. This peace does not mean the absence of problems, but rather a deep assurance that God is in control no matter what happens. Faith is strengthened through experience. The more we trust God and see His hand in our lives, the easier it becomes to rely on Him. We begin to recognize His voice, His guidance, and His provision in ways we never noticed before. Every answered prayer, every moment of unexpected grace, every time we see His protection, it all builds our confidence in Him. Even in moments of doubt, God remains faithful. He does not condemn us for questioning or struggling. Instead, He invites us to draw closer. He understands our fears and meets us where we are. His love is patient and His grace is abundant. No matter how many times we fall, He is always there to lift us up again. To trust in God fully, we must also let go of fear. Fear and faith cannot coexist. When we hold on to fear, we limit our ability to fully surrender to God's will. But when we release our fears, we make room for His peace. He has promised that we do not have to live in fear because He is our protector, provider, and guide. Trusting in God is not just about believing in Him when things are going well. It is about holding on to faith when everything seems to be falling apart. It is about choosing hope when circumstances feel hopeless. It is about believing in His goodness even when life feels unfair. It is about knowing that no matter what, He is still God and He is still in control. This journey of trust is lifelong. There will be moments of great faith and moments of doubt. There will be seasons of clarity and seasons of confusion. But through it all, God remains constant. His love never wavers, His promises never fail, and His presence never leaves us. The more we trust Him, the more we experience His peace. The more we surrender, the more we see His hand at work. The more we rely on Him, the more we understand that we were never meant to carry life's burdens alone. Trusting in God is the key to true freedom, true peace, and true fulfillment. As we continue to walk in faith, we learn that trust is not about having all the answers, but about knowing the one who does. It is about releasing our fears and stepping forward in confidence, knowing that God is leading the way. It is about resting in His promises and allowing His love to guide us through every season of life. Trusting in God is not always easy, but it is always worth it. It is the foundation of a life filled with purpose, joy, and peace. When we place our trust in Him, we are never alone, never forgotten, and never without hope. This journey is ongoing, and every step of faith brings us closer to understanding just how deep, how wide, and how endless God's love truly is. Trusting in God is a continuous journey, one that requires daily commitment and renewal of faith. It is not a one-time decision, but a lifelong process of surrendering our fears, doubts, and desires to His divine wisdom. As we continue this journey, we begin to understand that trust in God is not just about our circumstances. It's about our relationship with Him. The closer we draw to Him, the easier it becomes to rely on His guidance, even when we don't understand the path ahead. One of the most beautiful aspects of trusting God is the freedom it brings. When we fully surrender, we release the weight of trying to control every outcome. Anxiety fades and peace takes its place. We begin to live with confidence, knowing that we are not walking through life alone. No matter what challenges arise, we can rest in the assurance that God is leading, protecting, and providing for us. However, trust is often tested in the waiting seasons. These are the times when prayers seem unanswered, when progress feels slow, and when hope begins to waver. It is in these moments that we are called to trust deeper. God's silence does not mean His absence. His delays do not mean denial. Often, He is working behind the scenes, preparing things in ways we cannot see. Waiting is not wasted time. It is a period of growth, refining, and strengthening our faith. Many times we struggle with trusting God because we compare His timeline to ours. We live in a world that values instant results, quick fixes, and immediate gratification. But God's ways are different. He sees the bigger picture, the eternal perspective, and He knows exactly when the right time is for every blessing, every answer, and every breakthrough. When we rush ahead of Him, we often find ourselves frustrated and weary. But when we wait on Him, we experience His perfect provision in His perfect time. Another challenge in trusting God comes when we face hardships. When we encounter pain, loss, or unexpected struggles, our faith can be shaken. We may wonder why a loving God would allow suffering. But true trust means believing that even in our darkest moments, God is still in control. He does not waste pain. He uses it to strengthen us, to shape us, and to draw us closer to Him. Every trial has a purpose, even if we cannot see it in the moment. One of the greatest examples of trust in the Bible is found in the story of Job. He lost everything: his wealth, his health, his family, yet he remained faithful to God. Even in his suffering, he declared, "Though He slay me, yet will I trust in Him." Job 13:15. Job's story reminds us that trust is not based on circumstances, but on the unchanging nature of God. No matter what happens, He is still good, still sovereign, and still worthy of our faith. Trusting in God also requires obedience. Often He calls us to step out in faith before we see the outcome. He asks us to take bold steps, even when the path is unclear. Obedience is an act of trust. It is saying, "God, I don't see the whole picture, but I believe You do. So I will follow where You lead, even if I don't understand." Throughout Scripture, we see examples of people who trusted God through obedience. Noah built an ark before he saw rain. Abraham prepared to sacrifice Isaac before he saw the ram. Peter stepped out of the boat before he saw the water hold him. Each act of faith was rewarded with God's provision and presence. Another key aspect of trust is surrendering our own understanding. Proverbs 3:5-6 tells us, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your paths straight." This means letting go of the need to have all the answers. It means acknowledging that God's wisdom is far greater than ours. We may not always understand His ways, but we can trust that He knows what is best. Trust also deepens through gratitude. When we focus on God's past faithfulness, it strengthens our belief in His future provision. Looking back at the ways He has guided, protected, and provided for us gives us confidence to trust Him with what's ahead. Keeping a journal of answered prayers and blessings can be a powerful reminder of His goodness. Gratitude shifts our perspective from fear to faith, from doubt to trust. At times, trusting God will feel like walking in the dark. We may not see the next step, but we take it anyway, knowing He is leading us. This is the essence of faith: believing without seeing, trusting without knowing the full picture. Hebrews 11:1 defines faith as the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Trusting in God is living by faith, even when circumstances seem uncertain. As we continue growing in trust, we learn that God's presence is our greatest assurance. More than answers, more than blessings, more than any earthly security, His presence is what sustains us. He has promised to never leave us nor forsake us. Even in the storms of life, He walks with us, guiding us through every challenge. This journey of trust is lifelong. There will be moments when our faith is strong, and there will be times when we struggle with doubt. But God's faithfulness remains constant. He does not expect us to be perfect. He simply asks us to keep trusting, to keep seeking, and to keep holding on to Him. Trusting in God is the foundation of a life filled with peace, joy, and purpose. When we place our trust in Him, we are no longer bound by fear, worry, or uncertainty. We walk in the confidence that He is in control, that He loves us deeply, and that His plans for us are good. This journey will continue, and with each step, our trust will grow stronger. We will come to see that no matter what happens, God is always faithful, always present, and always working for our good. Trusting in Him is not just an option. It is the key to living a life of true freedom and fulfillment. Thank you for watching. Please support our channel by subscribing, like, and comment below.